Okay, so in this question it says Celia spent $25 less than David, and altogether they spent $68 altogether. We need to figure out how much did David spend. Okay, so we have to figure out what do we not know in this question and what are we trying to figure out. Well, we don't know how much David spent, and this is basically what we have to figure out by the end of the question. So whenever you have something that's unknown in math, we would use a variable to represent it. So we'll say, let D represent the amount that David spent. Okay, that's what we're trying to find out by the end of the question. Now, there's another person involved in this question. We know that altogether, there's two people. There's David and there's Celia. Altogether, they spent a total of $68. So we know that when we make up this equation, it's going to equal $68. The amount of money that David spent, okay, and the amount of money that Celia spent, so whatever David spent plus whatever Celia spent will equal a total of $68. Does that make sense? So we know that what David spent, okay, plus what Celia spent equals $68. Now we've already figured out what variable we're going to use to represent how much David spent, so I'm going to put a D here. Okay, and now we have to figure out how much Celia spent. Well, we're told that Celia spent $25 less than David. Now, if you're trying to represent less than in math, would you be adding an amount or would you be taking it away? That's right, you would be taking away the $25. It's $25 less than David. And we know David is represented by D. So we would write, we're taking away $25 from whatever David spent. Okay, so does this make sense? We have D, the amount David spent, plus the amount Cecilia spent. And the amount Cecilia spent is $25 less than David. So that's represented by D, David, the amount David spent, take away 25, and altogether that equals $68. So let's write this out again, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve for D. We're trying to figure out what does D represent, how much did David spend. Okay, so we have D plus D minus 25 is equal to 68. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to simplify this expression and we need to isolate our variable D. So let's do that on the next page. As you can see here, D represents the amount that David spent. So if D is equal to 46.5, we can conclude that David spent $46.50. Okay, and we can actually check our answer. It said Celia spent $25 less than that. So Celia spent 46.50. Take away the 25, right? We're using the formula. What's 46.5 take away 25? We get 21.50. So Cecilia spent $21.50. David spent $46.50. The question told us that altogether they spent $68. Let's check to see if this is true. What is 46.50 plus 21.50? What does that equal? It actually equals $68. So this is correct. It makes sense. The two values of David and Cecilia add up to $68. So this works. This is the answer. Okay, so if you recall from the last chapter, when we have two variables that are the same, when we have like terms, we have one D and we have another D, we can combine those together because they're like terms. So 1D plus 1D is equal to 2D. All I'm doing here is simplifying this. I have 2D take away 25 is equal to 68. Now we can't take away 25 from 2D because they're not like terms. But what we want to do here is we want to get rid of this negative 25 because my goal is to isolate and keep D by itself. So we want to undo all the operations on the left side of the equation. This is the left side and this is the right side. So to get rid of this 25, well, the opposite of negative 25 is positive 25. If I add 25, that equals 0. So I've actually gotten rid of that from the left side. But whatever you do to the left side, you must do to the right side. So if I've added 25 to the left side, what do I have to do on the right side? That's right, I need to add 25. So I'm left with just 2D on the left side. That's all I have left here because I got rid of that. And on the right side, I have 68 plus 25. Now we're going to simplify this. Okay, instead of writing 68 plus 25, let's actually add them together. 68 plus 25 is equal to 93. And on the left side, I still have my 2D. And remember, when you have a number next to a variable, the operation is multiplication. 2D means 2 multiplied by D, right? Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? That's right, it's division. So if I divide this by 2, well, I am undoing the operation. 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1, and 1 times a variable is just the variable by itself. So if I divide the left side by 2, what do I have to do to the right side? I have to also divide that by 2. So now we're just going to simplify again. 93 divided by 2 is equal to 46.5. Have I isolated my variable? Have I got my variable by itself? Yes. Okay, so we've figured out that D is equal to 46.5. Now in this question, what did D represent? Let's go back and look at what we wrote.